Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a little bit different of a video, a little bit different of an intro. I just ended filming a vlog today. I made my niece's birthday cake. I made her a Barbie cake because my sister so kindly asked me to do that, and my love language is acts of service, so I was like, I am the woman for the job. Please let me make the cake. Well, low-key stressed me out. I know making a cake shouldn't stress you out, but I was on a time crunch and it doesn't matter. Long story short, I'm just gonna end it there. Turned out just cute. I'll pop a couple clips in here. It was just miraculous, even though the frickin' frosting kept melting and I had to keep putting it in the freezer, and yeah. So without further ado, we are doing a sit down video today, and this is gonna be, I mean, all my videos are unscripted, but I don't have like any makeup on. Whatever's left from my after shower is all I got. My hair is all natural. We are gonna talk about loving ourselves today. And I wanna talk to somebody on the other side of this camera today. We're just gonna dive right into this. I wanna talk to somebody who has had a really rough time in their love life, or you can't seem to keep anybody. The dating pool is a literal swamp. Let's just start out with that fact right now. There's nothing good about it, and there's a few hidden gems, but they are far few and in between. There are a lot of people with trauma, especially if you're a person that maybe has an anxious attachment style, or you're avoidant, whatever you are. Anxious attraction and avoidance usually attract each other. Well, there is a push-pull dynamic between the two, and a lot of times we accept the love that we feel like we deserve. And I'm just gonna kind of tell a little backstory about myself. So in relationships, I have gone through it. I've dated the narcissist, I've dated the person who's, try to get physical with me. I've just been in really shitty relationships. And all of them have a trend. Nobody knows how to communicate with me. My needs come off as too needy when I accept the bare minimum, and that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk to somebody on the other side of this screen. Somebody who has a good heart. Maybe you're a person that wears your heart on your sleeve, and you're trying to set boundaries. Maybe you're new to setting boundaries. Maybe you never have set a boundary. Like, I didn't start setting boundaries in my life until I was probably, I want to say 24 or 25 years old. That's really when I started to deep dive into therapy and kind of heal my people-pleasing era. I would go above and beyond for people, and I was left feeling empty, and it's not that people are bad or anything like that, but a lot of times we think that we can find our value in relationships, and it's taken me a lot of failed attempts at dating people to learn that, to learn what I truly deserve. And I feel like I have chills talking about this because it's like, I recently was in a situation where I started to date somebody, and they basically started breadcrumbing me, and it started to fuck with me in a lot of different ways. And I said I might not talk about this, but I think I'm going to, because I feel like somebody needs to hear this. It has taken me an extremely long time to build my self-worth, my self-love, my self-confidence, and it's still getting there. I'm getting closer every single day. But I used to think that I was ugly. I used to think that there were a lot, deep-rooted insecurities, and I still have them, and it's stuff that I'm still working through. But 25-year-old me and 30-year-old me, I almost said 35, oh my God, 30-year-old me, within just 5 years, I am looking for something completely fucking different. And I just want to tell you today that if you set a boundary with someone and they crossed it and someone's stringing you along, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time with that person. You might see the best in them. You might see that, oh, well, they have potential. You might fall in love with potential, and you could be like, well, they could get help. And it's not your job to fix anybody. It's not your job to try and convince somebody to want you. You shouldn't have to beg for someone to give you the bare minimum. You shouldn't have to beg for somebody to love you. And it has taken me an extremely long time to realize this. And I'm telling you because hopefully my experience and failed attempts at this, maybe it'll save you some future heartache, because you know, I was almost single for 2 years, and then I finally let somebody into my life, and it's like, not that this person's a bad person. I see where all his issues come from, like, stemmed from trauma, and I'm not making excuses for him. And I started to for a little bit, until I realized that, you know, I really had to check myself, and it's like, you have to ask yourself these questions, like, do you see yourself with this person in 30 years? Do you see yourself being happy, fulfilled? Like, your partner, choosing a partner is so important. And I used to have this fairy tale-esque type of love in my mind, and I was like, oh, my knight in shining armor is just gonna find me, and everything is just gonna be miraculously better. That's not the case. It's not life. That's not real life. The movies are fake. They show you the juicy details, and then they kiss and they make up, and then that's the end of the movie. Maybe they get married, but they don't show what happens after that. Maybe they get divorced. Maybe they get into a really bad fight. You never know. And finding somebody healthy, somebody who's got the same value system as you, is so important. It is so important. A lot of people really lack morals these days, and it's sad. It's sad. It's hookup culture and people playing mind games, and I'm over it personally for myself. And I hope you are too. I hope that you have the courage today to stand up for yourself. I hope that you have the courage today to know exactly what you want. Maybe you don't know what you want. Sit down with a pen and paper and write down, like, what values do you want this person to have? Like, what's important? Do they need to be Christian? Do they need, you know, like, obviously, is religion a factor? Is it, you know, their scale on a roster between a 1 and a 10? Like, people are like, oh, well, you know, sometimes you fall in love with someone that you weren't attracted to. I believe in all of that, but let me tell you something. You need to be attracted to somebody in order to date them, because you gotta have that attraction. There's gotta be some sort of chemistry. And obviously I'm no dating expert, but I've been through the ringer quite a few times to learn that it's taken me a long time to know my worth, know my value. It's taken a lot of therapy. It's taken a lot of facing myself. It's taken a lot of journaling. It's taken a lot of being really honest with myself. And what do you want? Really, what do you want? Like, is it, like, does this person need to have the same taste in music? Like, you could get down to the nitty gritty, and obviously someone's not, like, they have to have blue eyes and blonde hair. They have to have dark hair and brown eyes. Like, I'm not saying to those basics, but as far as a value system goes, like, are you okay with them having friends of the opposite sex? Are you not? Like, what communication level do you want to hear? And I cannot stress enough the importance of asking these really hard questions when you start going on dates. If you scare somebody away, congratulations, you just saved yourself from a pit of hell. Honestly, you saved yourself time, you saved yourself heartache, which was something that I wished I would have did. I wished I would have asked harder questions, and that's something I'm working on. It's something that I'm still a work in progress on, and ultimately, I don't really have room for someone to fit in my life right now. I'm honed in, I'm locked in, I'm focused on my goals. I feel like these tests keep getting thrown my way. Maybe you're in that situation in your life too, and you're in that era where, like, you keep getting test after test after test after test, and something that looks like the real thing, but it's a carbon copy and it's not the right thing, and you're like, God, why do I keep getting myself in this predicament? And the truth of the reality is you're human. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna screw up. That's how we learn. And I think one of the things that I've really been trying to give myself lately, personally, is grace. Like, give yourself grace if you screw up. If you set a boundary and you let someone cross it and they basically shit all over you, if they move out of your life, obviously they weren't meant for you. And then, like, sometimes that's hard to accept. Like, I used to have the hardest time letting go of people, but sometimes they're only here for a season. They're like leaves on a tree. The people who are your roots are the ones who are going to stay there forever. And maybe I have this perception in my mind of what love is supposed to be, but I ultimately know it's somebody who cares about your feelings. It's somebody who tends to your heart. A relationship is a lot like tending to a garden. If you don't water your garden, the freaking plants aren't going to grow. I cannot talk today. The plants aren't going to grow. You're not going to reap a harvest, and it's just going to be bare and dead and deserted. And you're going to be so depressed, like, oh, I have no food. You're not going to have any food to eat, and you're not going to have any energy, because that relationship is going to suck you dry of everything that you have, and it's not worth it. At the end of the day, I've heard this quote. I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was, what's his name? I'm trying to think here. It's on the tip of my tongue. There's a motivational guy that I listen to, and he basically said that, like, your romantic partner, you choosing that is one of the most important decisions you're going to make in your life. Like, your financial decisions, your work ethic, your drive. And personally, the one thing that I've ran into, and yes, I'm being super vulnerable in this video because I wanted to not only be relatable, but I'm honest as heck. I run circles around the guys that I date with work ethic, with motivation, and ultimately, at the end of the day, you need somebody that's gonna match your energy. Right? You need somebody on the same wavelength as you. You need somebody, you don't need somebody, and it's okay. Like, there's also this other side of the spectrum where people are like, well, you just like really need to love yourself, and you like have to be happy single. 9 times out of 10, the people who are telling you that have never been single for an extended period of time. They have no idea what they're talking about. And I've seen people in my family, I've seen some of my close friends, like my sister met her current husband in one of the worst times of her life, and he supported her and he was there for her, and he fucking showed up because he was a man about it, and he was there, he showed up, he put in the effort. My sister did too. They worked at it together, and they built a very healthy relationship. And I heard this one quote before, that something that's always stuck with me. You know you found your person when you find a teammate, somebody who's willing to work with you. And so many times in my life have I came across people that like the idea of me, and then once they get what they want, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, I don't know if I like her so much anymore. And it took me a really long time to realize that it's not about me. It's not a me problem. It's not that maybe I'm annoying or maybe I'm this. Maybe there are things about me that people don't like, but if somebody doesn't love you for who you are to your core, why would you want them in your life? Why would you want to spend your energy trying to prove to somebody that you're worthy of love? It's ridiculous to me, and I'm sick of my own shit doing that. Like, stop doing that. You're worth more than that. You're a gem. You're a diamond in the rough. And these bad relationships are shaping you and molding you. Maybe you need to take a break from dating. I did for a couple of years. After my last relationship, no hard feelings towards him at all. He just wasn't the person for me. He didn't show up in the ways I needed him to. And that's okay, because it's life. It's kind of like test driving a car in a way. Like, you date people to see if that's what you like. I had several different therapists before I found the right therapist for me. I test drove vehicles until I found the right vehicle for me. And the same thing is with relationships. Just because you go out on a date doesn't mean that that person is your specific person. And God, we're so hungry for love so many times in our lives, and I've been guilty of this. And like, so hungry for someone to love me that I lose sight of who I am, and I'm so done doing that in my life. I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of it. And if I could give any piece of advice to a young person on the other side of this screen, chase after your passion, pursue your goals, pursue your life purpose, and there's gonna eventually come a person in your life that's gonna meet you halfway. They're gonna meet you in the middle, and you're gonna be on this path, and you're gonna be so focused on that, and this person just enters your life, and it works out, because I've seen it happen. Not to me, but I've seen it happen to other people, and I know that it's real. And it might be rare and it's out there, but it's a matter of being patient enough to wait for that right person to cross your path. And you're gonna make mistakes. It's okay. Maybe you have some trauma you need to heal. Maybe you don't even know how to start. Was it 2 or 3 years, I had a little thing taped up on my mirror, and I would sit and I couldn't even look myself in the eyes and tell myself that I love myself, because I had so much hatred towards who I am. And God, that's sad. And one of my friends, Bethany, she told me, she's like, tape it on your mirror and say it to yourself every day, It took me a very long time to even speak the words out loud because I didn't believe it, but I said it every single day until I believed it, and that helped. And I took it down when I felt like I didn't need it anymore. I love myself enough to walk away from the things that are no longer serving me and that aren't for me. And I think that you should do the same. Give yourself the grace and the permission to walk away from people, places, and things that aren't no longer serving you, people who aren't tending to your garden, people who aren't working with you, people who, oh God, like, it's so important to be with somebody who's proud to have you and proud of you and supports your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, and stop settling for breadcrumbs. It's ridiculous. Psh, psh. I'm slapping you. Knock it off. Stop it. That goes for me too. I need to stop doing that too, and 2025 is going to be an extremely different year for me. It's time to choose myself. It's time to choose yourself. It's time to, not in a conceited way. I used to think that choosing yourself was like self-absorption or an egotistical way, not like, oh my God, I'm just so amazing. I just sparkle. I'm just great. And maybe you think you are great, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the dating pool is a swamp. Just be patient. I know I have to be patient too. I should have been a little bit more patient, but you know what? Things happen, and it is what it is, and we're here. We're healing. We're thriving, and sometimes those doors have to close. Sometimes you have to let it go. That's one of the hardest things, let it go. And you know you made the right choice is when you do make that decision and it feels like a weight lifted off of you, because it's not your burden to bear. It's not your burden to carry. A relationship isn't supposed to be a burden. A romantic relationship is supposed to be a blessing. If that person is not your friend and you can't talk to them like a friend, out the door. They don't need to be in your life. If they're not willing to meet you halfway, they're not responding to your text messages. I'm not saying like instantly, but if they're breadcrumbing you and texting you when it's convenient for them, screw them. You don't need them. You don't need them in your life. You don't need to prove your value to anybody. You don't owe anybody shit, especially a stranger, somebody that you're newly dating. And like, why give them that power? For the longest time, I gave my power to so many people. Take that fucking power back and stick it back inside of you where it belongs. That's what I had to do. And they talk about the chakras, and I know Christians aren't for Reiki, but I'm a spiritual being as well. I believe in Reiki and the chakras. And I think it was Aaron Doherty. I can't pronounce his last name, but he's like a spiritual teacher. And he's like, take that energy back and shove it into the bottom 3 chakras of yourself, like your solar plexus, and I don't know what the other ones are called, and like your heart space. Take your power back. Stop giving it away and stop worrying about the future. And I know it's easier said than done. It's taken me a really long time. And there's times where I still get stuck in my head, but I know that life is precious, it's short, and especially getting older and watching everyone around me grow older and people pass away, and you know, having a significant loss in my life, it's not worth the exertion, it's not worth the energy, it ain't worth it. It's what's worth it is waiting for not someone to sweep you off your feet, but for a calm and steady love, somebody you can rely on, somebody who's there for you, somebody who fucking shows up. If someone can't even text you back, goodbye. The door's over there. They can get out. It's shut. Open it, shove them out, and shut the thing. Like, you're done. I'm done. I might not be laughing tomorrow. I might cry myself to sleep tonight. But in all seriousness, it's part of the journey. You gotta allow yourself to grieve about these things. And, God, stop letting people take your power from you. You deserve better. If you're watching this, I know I'm relating to somebody on the other side of this screen. I can feel it deep in my soul. You are worthy. You are important. You're valuable. You have so much worth. Take your value and add tax. That's what you deserve. You deserve the world. If you're a good person and you do the right thing and you show up for people, maybe you're just picking the wrong people like I do. It's a learning curve. And it's time to make different choices. It's time to fucking stand up for yourself. Maybe I swore too much in this video. I don't know if it'll get monetized, but I'm speaking from the heart because I care, because I wish 25-year-old Tyler would have knew this information, but it takes experience, it takes years, it takes a lot of strength to stand up for yourself, and I hope that this video inspired you to stand up for yourself today. And my camera battery is overheating, so this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, my homages, peace out. Love yourself today. You're worth it. I love you.